Hi, everybody. Thank you so much for joining me here today, right on time. I'm going to give it another minute or two just to give everybody a chance to log in, and then we'll go ahead and get started. So just bear with me for one more moment. And Marianne, I have unmuted you, so you also can go ahead and take over, get started whenever you want.
Thank you so much. We will wait just another minute or two and see who else joins us. I can't see how many are online, but let's just wait a minute or two, and then we'll get started.
Yeah, we've got 33 on so far, and my registration said about 47, so just like another minute or two would be perfect.
Sounds great. So I think to honor everyone's time that's on, does it sound good to get started?
Yeah, absolutely. We're at 41, so I think we're good to go.
Great. Okay, so I will start then. Hi, everybody. It's Marianne Quiros, Communications Coordinator. Wanted to just give you all a quick breakdown of some things before we get started so that you kind of know why we're doing this and when. We are launching the system hopefully on August 17th, and it will at the beginning simply replace what we currently use as EduLink for the fall semester. You will also notice that there's a calendar. I've already put in the district dates for you all, but if you could put in your school dates, that would be great. And for those of you taking attendance, I believe we're still going to do that the same way through Q, but we're going to need to set up your communications here in ParentSquare. In October or November, so right now we're just using this to replace our mass communication, so sending our emails and our text messages from the school like we used to. But in October and November, we'll be bringing coaches, teachers, club advisors, counselors all in to get trained. We're not doing that now because they're overwhelmed with everything else going on. And they will learn how to communicate with their groups, so teams, club members, classes. Depending on what is happening, we'll either go live for them over fall break or winter break. I'm also developing a simple handbook for everyone that we'll send out. Each principal and department head at the ESC has designated people in their area that were given access to be allowed to communicate on behalf of their school. Many of those accounts are already live, so be careful if you're in there practicing. The rest will be live by the end of the day. If not, please let me know. And finally, Evan will talk about being able to communicate out to groups beyond a classroom or grade level. If that's something you want to do, we can absolutely talk. We need to look to see if there's an attribute in queue first to be able to pull that very easily. And if not, then we'll work with tech services to see if we can, or if you'll do that manually. So those are just a few things, but huge thanks to ParentSquare. I think you all are going to be very excited at what you see. It may seem overwhelming. I'm still overwhelmed learning it all, but we will get through this just like we have everything else in the last few months. And I am super excited that we are moving in this direction. So, Evan, it's all yours.
Okay, great. Thank you. Awesome introduction. So, hi, everybody. My name's Evan Tambini. I'm the trainer here at ParentSquare, and I'm so excited to be here with you guys, a local district, to show you how you can use this platform at your school. So throughout this webinar, I do have someone on and available answering questions for you. So if you just locate your control panel, find that questions drop down, and just type in your question, they'll be able to get you any answers to your specifically feature related questions. If you're having account questions, if I'm showing you a feature and you are not seeing the feature that I'm showing you, likely that's going to be an account or permissions issue. If you have any questions of that nature or something that's specific to your district or launching, all of those are going to be things that, yeah, you're going to want to redirect back to your district admin. So this is specifically feature related questions. And then when I'm done presenting, I'm also going to hop off and onto questions. And so I won't close out the webinar without getting you all of those answers. So for a really quick overview, ParentSquare is one central tool for all school to home communication. So we're really meant to streamline that district to school to classroom communication to your families. We encourage two-way parent engagement, so not just a one-way push robocall that everybody's used to. We wanted something a little more interactive, so your families can RSVP, they can sign up to volunteer, they can fill out forms all directly into the program. We're already syncing nightly with your student information system, so as long as Q is current and up to date, we're going to see that reflected in the platform. We also translate into over 100 different languages with real-time translation. All of your users are able to select their preferred language, and then content from the platform will be sent to parents in that preferred language. We have multiple ways for your families to receive communication. So we have text messages, emails, push notifications, in one instance, voice calls, and your parents can choose how they want to receive this communication from the school, ensuring that you all have that 100% reach. And last, we encourage the use of targeted groups so you can send your specific notices to your sports teams or your school clubs. We don't need to blast the entire school to send a specific and targeted message, and we are going to talk about how to set up some of those groups a little bit later on in the training. But above all, the big takeaways that we're looking to streamline and simplify that family communication process to make it faster and more receptive. So we have multiple ways to communicate with our families. Over here on the left-hand side, we have our mobile-friendly familiar website, and this is going to look the same across devices. So whether you're viewing this on your mobile browser, your iPad, your computer, it's going to look consistent. And the interface here is pretty intuitive. It's meant to mimic a social media-like design. So for all of your parents that are familiar with Facebook, this is going to be an easy learn for them. We also have native apps for both iOS and Android, and of course we have those text messages, emails, push notifications, and your users can choose their notification settings. So what we see is that all of your parents, regardless of their tech level, can become engaged. So our agenda for today, we are going to do some general navigation and account settings. We are going to look at the three main ways to communicate in ParentSquare. So how to create a post and use some of those post features, how to send a direct message, how to send an alert. And then we're going to move over to our Explore tab where we will look at our directory, calendar, and resource hub. And then we'll jump up to our admin tab where we will review our dashboard, groups, users, and assigning user permissions. And then we're very briefly going to touch on that add-on page before wrapping up with resources, help, and support. So hopefully prior to today, everybody has activated their account. You're familiar with this activation email that you're seeing over here on the left-hand side. You've clicked on that activate your account button and you have gained that access. But if not, you can also go to parentsquare.com/sign in and enter your school email in the field on the right-hand side, and that will trigger this process for you. So if you're wanting to follow along with me today, mirror what I'm doing in my platform in your school site, now's the time to go ahead and get signed in. I'll leave this up here for a second to give you a chance to get logged in, and then I'm going to transition over to my platform. Okay, so hopefully everybody's had a chance to get logged in. And what we're looking at now is Rincon Point's school. So this is a fake school for our customer success team. And this is where we learn how to use ParentSquare and later where we troubleshoot our issues. So we don't mess up a real live school site when we're fixing stuff for all of our customers. So for the rest of this training, I'm going to be Principal Rincon. I'm the principal of this school site, and I have full admin rights. And I like using this in my trainings because it gives you guys, as you're following along in your brand new school sites, an idea of what you will be looking at once content is created. So over here in this upper left area, this is going to be an access point. If I have access to multiple school sites, you're going to see a schools drop down up here, and you're going to be able to click on that and navigate to any of the school sites that you see there. You can also see my child right here. If I have multiple children, those are going to all just be stacked right up along here as well. And I'll be able to click on them and navigate to those school sites as well. So this whole upper left area is going to be your access point to different school sites. Just below that, we have our navigation toolbar. It's broken into 3 different sections. So we have our communicate section, our explore section, and our participate section. Over here on the right-hand side, we are going to have post content broken up by the feature that it contains. So you will see in a second when I create a post, there are a lot of different features that can be incorporated into a post. And so if you need to find something quickly, maybe a specific conference sign up, maybe a specific field trip, you're able to locate those over here on the right by that feature. This center portion here is going to be your center feed, and it's going to contain all of your posts. And this is going to be customized for each user. As admin, you're going to be able to see posts that are designated for the entire school, whole grades, classes, pre-created groups, whereas your teachers and parents are going to see content that's more specific to them. It's going to be, the grades, classes, groups that they teach, or the grades, classes, groups of their children. All of that's a lot of information to have in one center feed. So what we do have available for you is over here in this upper right, we have a filter. So if you click on this drop down, say I select this 5th grade class, it's actually going to navigate me away from my main feed and take me to this 5th grade class feed where I'll only be looking at posts that are designated for that 5th grade class. Now, if you're following along with me, you should see your name over here in the upper right-hand corner. If you click on this drop down and select my account, we're going to navigate to our account pages. All of your users from your parents up through your district administrators are going to have this exact same account page, as this is where your users are able to adjust their notification and language settings. All of your users are pulled into the system under the default notification setting of instant email. If we do not have an email in the system for them, then they're going to default to instant text message. But as soon as they're pulled into the system, they're going to be able to receive notifications from the school. If they would like to adjust these notifications, then they do need to register and log into their account, navigate to this account page, and click on Customize Your Settings. And we can see we're able to adjust these settings by feature, but also by the sites that we're receiving communication from. So I'm receiving notifications from Rincon Point School, but also the district that that school falls under. And I can turn these on, I can turn them off, I can customize these however I would like. And for any of the notifications that I do opt into, I have the ability to also customize the frequency in which I receive these notifications. So do I want instant notifications where every time content is created that relates to me, I'm getting a notification, or do I want a digest notification, which is going to be once a day between 6 and 7 p.m. that contains a summary of all content that relates to me. This is also where your users can select their preferred language by coming to this language settings area and clicking on change this, selecting their preferred language from this drop down. And once they click save, all of this content is going to be in their preferred language. Now, if I scroll down a little bit, this lower half of my page is going to be my activity. So as I move through the platform and create posts, join groups, start signing forms, these tabs are going to populate right here. So if I need to quickly find something that I've created or that I'm interacting with, then I'll be able to find that right here from my account page. So we're going to move through this navigation toolbar. We're just going to do it in chronological order. So starting with our communicate section, we're going to begin with posts. And your posts are going to be good for newsletters, events, school updates, and you're able to send these to the whole school, grades, classes, and pre-created groups. So to create a new post, you're going to click on New Post. And now's a great time to remind everybody that if you are following along with me, then you are logged into a live school site. So to prevent you from sending anything out to folks that shouldn't be receiving communication yet, go ahead and just leave this to field blank. And then you can feel free to play along with the rest of these features, but you won't send this out to anybody. So let's just leave this to field blank. I'm going to send mine out to my school. Over here, I have my who should see this drop down. This is where I'm able to filter out who exactly I would like to send to. So I can send to only the staff of my school, or I'm able to send to only the parents of my school. If I'm an admin, I also have the ability to either post as myself, or if I click on my name right here, I'm able to post as a department. If you're not seeing anything here currently, that's because there's a portion of your directory where you need to fill in your department. So I'll show you a little bit later on where you can enter these departments to post as. Next, I'm going to enter in my subject for my post, and I'm going to add some content. Now, this is the content for my post. I have some tips to limit the spread of germs and prevent infection. Just above that, I have my text editing toolbar, and this should look familiar to something you've seen in your email or Microsoft Word. But if you hover over these buttons, it's also going to tell you what their function is. So I'm going to make some adjustments to my post just to make sure that this looks a little bit better to my users. And then actually down here at the bottom, I have some important content as well, where it says this Friday, we're going to have a virtual lesson where we discuss health and safety tips like these for the whole family. Please RSVP if you're going to attend so we know who to send the Zoom link to. So I want to make sure that that's not lost on my users either. So I'm going to make some adjustments there. Now, for all of your posts, you have the ability to embed in a video or an image, and I do recommend doing this because it really helps to break up the home feed for your users. Instead of logging in and looking at a wall of text, there's some color, there's something to draw the eye. So I'm going to add in a quick image. And once my image is fully loaded, I have this little menu that pops up so I can replace this image, I can align it differently, I can delete it, all of these little options right here from within my post. Now we've talked about how your users are able to receive content in their preferred language, but it is the Google translated version of their language. So if you would like, you can come down here to the lower left and click on Edit Translation. And then all of the languages that you have activated at your school site, we just have Spanish, but you might have Vietnamese, Korean, Italian, German, etc. They will populate in tabs right along here. So you're able to toggle between those, adjusting the Google translated view that you're seeing right down here in your post. So now if I speak Spanish, I'm able to come down here, make a manual edit into this Google translation, and then this will be the version that is sent out to my families. So just to reiterate, without you doing anything at all, your users are going to be receiving communication in their preferred language. This is just a step you can take if you would like to edit that Google translation. Over here on the left-hand side, we have our post add-ons, and these are going to be your two-way engagement features. So that's what's going to take this post from being something that your families come in and read to something that they can actually interact with. So starting with our calendar entry, it says this Friday we're going to have a virtual lesson. Well, today's Friday, so I'm going to make it actually next Friday. I'm going to add in a time here so my users know when this virtual lesson is taking place. Now, if this is something I want to have every Friday or the second Friday of every month, I can come down here and I can click on this box next to repeat, and it's going to prompt me to put in my repeating schedule. I can also check this box next to send reminder, and I can send out a reminder for 1 to 3 days before my event. And I actually request an RSVP in my post. So I'm going to check this box next to request RSVP. But let's say I only have 100 Zoom links I'm even able to distribute. I'm going to set a limit so I don't get more requests than I have links to send out. Now, these are all health and safety tips, but I want to make sure that my users are also engaging in self-care. So I have this self-care worksheet that I'm just going to attach for families to download if they'd like. You can have up to 50 different attachments, but we can see we've just got this one quick one down here. I'm going to ask for some items. I know that folks are at home sewing some masks. So I'm going to want to provide those for some volunteers for a food drive. And we can see I've quickly added these 4 different post add-ons into one post. So now it's really a one-stop shop for my users. They can come in, they can read this post, they can RSVP, and they can download this worksheet and determine if they'd like to participate in my wish list, all in this one place. Over here on the right-hand side, I have my notification option. So I'm able to send this at the user preferred time. I'm able to send this instantly. Send instantly is really just for instances when waiting for that 6 to 7 p.m. digest setting would be a missed opportunity. Or I can choose to not notify, and that's going to take this post and it's going to put it on my home feed, but it's not going to send out that text message, email, or push notification. Now, just below that, I'm going to see the notifications that are being sent out across my school. So for my school, staff and parents, these are the notifications that are going to be sent. And as I make some adjustments, you actually can see these notifications reflecting who I'm actually sending out to. So you want to make sure that these numbers do reflect who you think you're sending your post out to. Otherwise, you need to double check your to field and your who should see this drop down. Now from here we can post now, or I can click on this little drop down arrow and I can schedule this for a later date or time. I can save this as a draft or I can preview. So if you've been following along with me and you've created a post, you can go ahead and just save that as a draft. I'm going to go ahead and select preview. And now from here, I'm able to see my post as it's going to appear on my feed. So I can see where my users are going to be able to RSVP. I can see my worksheet available for download, and I can see my wish lists right here. Now, if I would like, I can scroll up to the top and I can click on send me a test, and that's going to send me and only me that text message, email, or push notification to preview before sending that out to my users. So I'm able to see exactly what my users are going to receive. And that's going to take this post and put it in my draft messages until I have time to review those notifications and determine if I'd like to send it out as is. Now from here, I do like what I'm looking at, so I'm going to click Post Now. It's going to confirm with me my publishing settings. It's letting me know that there's going to be a reminder sent for this event. And if I navigate back to my post or my home feed, then your feed is in chronological order. So as the post most recently created, it's going to be at the top of the feed. Now from my feed, I have this gear icon in the upper right-hand corner. So I can click on this and I can edit this post, I can delete this post, I can duplicate it, I can send an update that's going to send to the folks that I originally posted to, and then timestamp and embed that update in the body of my post. I can disable comments. I can add an admin if there are users that I think should have the same rights to this post as me. I can pin this post to the top of my feed where it will stay until I unpin it. I can get a link and send this to somebody directly. I can message volunteers. I did use my volunteers add-on, so I have this option to message my volunteers once users start signing up. And I have my social share enabled for this school site, so I'm able to share this post directly onto Twitter, my Facebook, or my school website via a widget. So a lot of options available to you here from your feed. Now, if we scroll down, we have the ability to appreciate this post. Users can also comment on my post. Only the post creator and admin of the school site are able to see these comments, so staff and parents are not able to see each other's comments. And if I see this little eyeball and number notified, I can click on this number notified. It's going to show me the delivery statistics for this post. So for my school staff and parents, I'm able to see these recipients and how many of those users have been reached so far. So I can see I've got 4 students that have no parent contact information. I can see how many of my folks are email, text, or app notification users, how many of them are receiving instant versus digest messages. So we can see I've got 138 digest users, so that means between 6 and 7 p.m. tonight, we're going to watch this users reached number go up quite a bit. We can also see how many bouncing emails we have in the system, or if users are marking ParentSquare emails as spam. We can see if we have any landlines or invalid numbers in the system. And if I scroll down here to our delivery report, it's going to show me the user by name, the students they're associated with, and then exactly how they're receiving the communication from the school, if it's successful, like what the status is of that notification, and ultimately if they've viewed that notification. So this is going to be a really helpful tool for you when determining if everybody's receiving the correct communication from the school. So I did get a quick question about the difference between the to field and the who should see this dropdown. This is where you're selecting the group that you're posting to. So are you selecting as admin, you have the ability to send to the whole school, grades, classes, or pre-created groups. This is then filtering from this category. So if I select the school, I'm choosing between, the staff, parents, and students of the school. If I select just the 3rd grade class, then I'm determining if I'm sending to the staff of just the 3rd grade class or the parents of just the 3rd grade class. So I hope that provides a little clarification. Now your posts are content that you're sending out to a larger group of people. If you want to have a conversation that's a little more personal, maybe only relevant to 1 or 2 people, that's going to be a little bit more appropriate for your direct messages. So we're going to click on our messages over here in the left. And to send a direct message, you're going to click on New Message. And then you're able to select your recipients either from this quick select recipient area, or you can send a message out to another user in your school site by entering 3 or more characters of their name in this recipient area. Now, once you select 2 or more users, you're going to see this option pop up where you can either send out a private message, which is going to create a separate conversation thread for each participant. They're only seeing messages from you, or a group message, which is going to be collaborative, one conversation for all of the participants. Then you're going to enter your message. You're able to attach photos or files, and you can click send. Once you click send, those messages are going to appear in the top of your inbox as the messages that you most recently interacted with. Next, we're going to take a look at our alerts and notices. So your alerts are going to be one-way communication to blast a short message to your families, and this is going to be best for emergencies, important reminders, or weather-related incidences. Only admin, unless otherwise specified, are going to be able to send these out. So your staff, your teachers, they're not going to be able to send out smart alerts. To send a new smart alert, you're going to click on New Smart Alert. And putting this together should feel similar to putting together a post. So you're able to enter a title for your alert message. Since we send out voice calls for this feature, you're able to select the number that you want shown on caller ID. This is going to be pulling from the same field in your directory that your post as feature is pulling from. So if you didn't see anything that you could post as, then you also are not going to be seeing anything here. And again, I'm going to show you in the directory where these departments are pulling from. Next, you're going to select your recipients to notify. You're also able to add your recipients by uploading a CSV. And then down here is where you're going to enter your message that you're sending out. So I'm going to put in my text message. It says, "School will resume tomorrow. Please bring your completed assignments for review as well as any borrowed technology." And then I have several options for this voice message. I can do a text-to-speech message option, or if I'd like to do something a little more personal, this is just a robot voice that reads this out to my parents. I can record on my phone, I can record on my computer, or I can upload a pre-recorded message. If I select record on my phone, it's going to prompt me to put in my phone number. I'm going to get a call, and then I can record my message. For all 4 of these options, you're going to have the ability to preview that message before sending it out to your users, so you're able to hear what they're going to hear before you send it out. Then you can determine if you do not want to send a text message. You can also opt into sending an email. Now that I have all of my different fields entered, I'm going to click on this Spanish tab. And we can see that it automatically translated all of these fields for me, but I did need to click on this Spanish tab to send out this Spanish translation. Had I not clicked on this Spanish tab, it would only send the English Smart Alert out to all of my users, regardless of their language. And that's just because these Smart Alerts are typically more sensitive information than a post might be. So clicking on this Spanish tab is sort of a step by us to try and remind you to double check this translation before sending this one out. So from here, I can save this as a draft, or I can click next. And I can see for my first grade class of staff and parents, I'm sending this out to 44 recipients, and I can preview these messages before I send them. So if I want to take a look at this English text message, for example, this is exactly what my users are going to be receiving from me. Now your smart alert is called a smart alert because it first sends a round of text messages, and then if that text does not make it through, then it's going to send that voice call. So for example, if my text message hits a landline, then that text will fail and it will send out my voice call. If I would like to override this setting, I can click here to the right where it says click here to send both a text and a voice. And now my message will be sent as both a text and a voice. So it's kind of hard to see, but you can see me toggling between those down here. Now from here, I can schedule this for a later date or time, or I can choose to notify. Here we can see my sending in progress right here at the top. We're currently looking at all of my recent alerts, but I can filter this out if I just want to see the ones I have scheduled, or just my draft alerts, or only my sent alerts. For any of my sent alerts, I'm able to see how many emails, push notifications, texts, or calls were delivered. And if I come all the way over here to the right and click on report, I can see something like that delivery report that I saw for my post. So I can break this down by user who received my emails, push notifications, texts, or calls, or I can come all the way over here to unreachable, and I can download a report of all my unreachable users. So I can reach out to these folks and get their information up to date. Over here on the left-hand side, we have a message library. And this is going to be very great if you can anticipate what kind of emergencies you're going to be having. So if you know that you're in an area that has snow days or fog delays or frequent power outages, you can come here and you can pre-create those messages so that you're not in these situations trying to create a smart alert. You can just navigate to your message library, click use message, and send that out to your users. Now the last thing I'm going to show you here is going to be this red button. This is going to be your urgent alerts. This is that highest level emergency alert, and by default this is going to send out to your entire school, and it's going to be sent as a text, call, and email to all staff and parents. If you were able to anticipate what kind of emergency this would be, you can select that message from the message library, or you can create a new message. And you can see there are very few customization options here, and that's just because this is that highest level emergency alert. You're just trying to get this out as fast as possible to as many people as possible. Both your smart alert and your urgent alerts are available to you from the app. So if it is something like a power outage and you lose access to your computer, you can still send these alerts out from your phone with access to that message library. So we've covered all of our different methods of communication here. We're going to move on to this Explore section, starting with our directory. Your directory is going to be your school-wide information, and the default here is set to private. We've got our school-specific information here at the top. Here are the departments that we're pulling from for that post as feature, and when you're selecting the number that you want shown on caller ID when you're sending out your smart alert. So this is that section where you're going to want to enter your departments, and you can manage this at any time by clicking on this Manage Numbers. You can add new departments, you can edit these numbers, delete these numbers. So this is what you can pull from. We have our staff and their titles here. You can search any of your users in the school site using this search bar by entering 3 or more characters of their name. And over here on the right, we also can see the classes for our school. And if I click on one of these, then it's going to navigate me to the directory page for that specific class, where I'm able to see the staff, students, and parents for my first grade class. Now, if I click on any of my users in the directory, it's actually going to take me to that user's account page. So if they need some help adjusting their notification or language settings, I'm able to do that by navigating here through the directory. If it's an unregistered user, I'm also going to see an invite button just below their name. So that's one of the ways that you can trigger an individual invitation link. Next, we're going to click on our calendar. And your calendar is going to be another feature that's personalized to each user's account. So admin, you're going to be able to see events across your entire school site, whereas your teachers, your staff, your parents, they're going to be seeing events that are specific to them. And just like that post feed, we're going to have a filter available for you. So if I click on just the basketball team, for example, then this calendar is going to populate with events that are only for the basketball team. Now over here we have our upcoming events, and I can download a list of my upcoming events, or I can download a calendar view of these events. Users can subscribe to this calendar if they would like these events to populate on their personal devices. And if you already have a calendar for your school, maybe one that's already linked up to your website, you can enable a two-way sync here so that any of the events that you enter into your ParentSquare calendar can populate on your school calendars and vice versa. Next, we're going to click on our resource hub. And your resources are going to allow your teachers and your staff to create and share a variety of resources with staff, students, and their families. This is going to be easy for them to organize into folders and classify by subject. Your parents are going to have this shared with me tab, only this shared with me tab. So they're just on the receiving end of the resource hub. Teachers are going to have this My Resources tab and shared with me. So they're able to send and receive. And then admin are going to have this additional tab of all resources where you're able to monitor what's being sent out across your school site. You are able to send out an individual resource, so you can upload one resource and just send that out, or you can upload multiple resources, maybe into a lesson plan, and send out that entire file. As an admin, I'm able to share these files out across my entire school, and I can determine if I'd like to send notifications here. So who do I want to notify? What language do I want to notify in? And maybe if it's a homework assignment, do I want to also add in an optional message with instructions? So the hope here is that this is going to help with the various versions of remote learning that we see as we move forward. Now we're going to jump all the way up to the top where we'll click on this admin tab. Starting with our dashboard, we're looking at our overall snapshot for this school. We're able to see how many students, staff, and parents we have for this school. And of our student families, how many of them are contactable, non-contactable, or do we have no contact info for? Non-contactable is going to mean that we do have an email or a phone number in the system for these users, but they're still not receiving notifications from us. And whether that's because there was a typo when entering their information, they've updated information and forgotten to notify the school, there's a landline where their cell phone number should be, they're just not getting their correct notifications. So we're going to want to reach out to these non-contactable users and ensure that we have the correct and current information in the system for them. You can click on this category and you can actually export a CSV of these users to facilitate you getting their information up to date. We also have our users with no contact info, and of course that's pretty self-explanatory. We do not have a phone number or an email in the system for them, so they're definitely not receiving notifications from the school, so we will want to get that entered as well. Next, we have our reach and deliverability, and as I stated previously, all of your users are pulled into the system under the default notification setting of instant email, unless we don't have an email, in which case they're receiving instant text messages. But as the users log into their accounts and adjust their notification settings, you're going to watch this graph redistribute. Next, we have our features usage, and these are going to be the features that are used out across your school site by your staff. Then we have our interactions. This is going to be your parent interaction with the platform, as well as what percentage of parents are interacting. And then we have our distribution. We've got our distribution across our school site. We have post distribution by grade, and we have our top authors. This is important to monitor, especially at the beginning, to see if there's too much posting or grades that are shying away a little bit. If you see users that are posting 20 times a day and really, creating some message fatigue for your parents, that might be time to have a conversation about best practices. Do we need to send out homework assignment every single day, or can we send one post on a Monday with homework for the rest of the week? Conversations like that. And for your users that are really shying away from the new technology, we can recommend hosting a lunch and learn with these top authors where they can discuss, reservations about the platform or what do the top authors really love about it, and hopefully bolster that communication. So all of these graphs are just to help you monitor engagement across the site if that's something that you're interested in doing. Next, we just covered all of these different graphs. So we're going to jump down here to our groups. We have a couple different types of groups for you, and this is going to be great for your athletics, your clubs, PTA, bus routes, and you can have staff, parents, and external users in these groups. So to create a new group, you'd click on this new group button, and these are the two types of groups that we have for you. So we have a static group, which is going to include members that you add or is a self-enrollment group. So you're going to enter your name, your description for your group. You can select a category, or likely as a new school, you're just going to be adding new categories. And then you're going to determine if you would like to have a public or private group. Public is going to mean that anyone in the school can view the group contents and join the group. And that's going to be great for your PTA, or if you have a school beautification project where your members can join or leave as they'd like, and everybody in the school is able to see the happenings of this group. Private is going to be invite only, so only members that you add below can view the group contents, and that's going to be better for your sports teams or your school clubs. Next, you'll have your advanced options, where you'll be able to do things like allow members to post to this group, and you may see more or less of these advanced options depending on your school settings. You can add as many owners as you'd like to this group, and then you have several options for adding members. So we can add members by selecting students. This is the best option for your sports teams or your school clubs, because you can see for every student that I add, it's going to make all of their associated parents members of this group. I can add members by name or role. So if I want, a guidance counselor group, I can type in counselor and select all of the users where that's their role. I can add external users, which are members outside the school community with their contact information. It's going to be good for your walk-on coaches or board members. And if you want to add members in bulk, you've got a lot of folks that you want to add into these groups, you're able to do that via a CSV. And we have some example files here for you to ensure we get that formatting correct. And our second type of group is going to be our auto update group, which is going to automatically update with new members who meet conditions that you set and removes members who do not. So these first two sections are going to look the same as your static group. Down here, this third section, this is where we're setting those conditions. So let's say I would like to have a group of my 8th and 9th grade families that speak Spanish. So I'm going to select these user roles. I've selected my 8th and 9th graders, and I want to have an intersecting condition of language. So I'm going to have my 8th and 9th grade Spanish speaking users, and this is all being pulled from the student information system. So this is going to update nightly with that nightly sync. So again, as long as my users are meeting these conditions, it's going to stay up to date daily, and I'm not going to have to manage this group at all. Next, just below groups, we're going to click on this users tab. And this is where you're able to trigger invitation links. And the best practice here is you're going to want to roll out to your teachers, give them some time to get familiar with the platform, maybe do some of the training modules to get familiar with what they're looking at, and then invite your parents into this platform. And from this page, you can see we've got our user names, we've got our contact information that's associated with their account, and we can see if they've registered their account. Now, if they're not registered, this is the second way you can trigger an individual invitation link. Now, you also can invite all of your unregistered parents with the click of a button, and you can view or edit that invitation email before you send it out to your users. For a lot of your users, this is going to be the first interaction they have with the platform, so you do want to make sure this is consistent with your school or district messaging. Now, just to remind everybody, your parents do not need to be registered to receive notifications. They're going to receive them via those default settings. They only need to register if they want to participate in those two-way engagement features like adjusting their account settings, RSVPing, signing up for conferences, direct messaging teachers, things like that. Then they're going to need to register. Next, I'm going to click on User Permissions and click on this Assign tab first. So all of your users are pulled into the system with their default roles. So what I mean here is if you click on this View Other Roles, it's going to show you the different roles that users can be pulled into the system as. And here you're able to view what their base level permissions are. So for folks that are pulled in as these different user roles, what does this immediately give them access to? Now from here, you can layer on these individual permissions. So on top of those base level permissions, you then can assign these individual permissions if you'd like. And you can see we have quite a lot of these individual permissions. So you're really able to customize and fine tune what you want each of your users in your school site to have access to. Now, if you decide that you would like to have someone or assign someone this admin role, it's going to automatically add these different permissions here, the ability to send urgent alerts, the ability to post to and view posts in private groups, the ability to manage all groups, manage all posts, and assign other users permissions, as well as all of these individual permissions. So it's full access. Now, if you find yourself assigning a certain type of user, maybe your office staff, you're trying to be consistent and repeatedly assign them the same type of roles, you can also add some custom roles here so that you're able to assign your user permissions with just the click of a button. Now, if I click on this View or Remove tab, I'm able to search a specific user if I'm wanting to see what permissions does a specific person in my school site have permissions to, or maybe I just want to see what the permissions are across my school site. I can expand right here and I can see who are the other admins of my school or who has the ability to send a smart alert that's not an admin. So this is if you're just wanting to see what is happening across your site. Now we're going to click on this Add-ons tab up here at the top. Now your add-ons are going to be the different features that you can incorporate into your ParentSquare site, as well as different settings that can be tailored to meet your school or district needs. And this is where you're going to be able to do things like create forms in your forms repository that can be pulled into a new post by all of your users. Or if you're wanting to create a custom newsletter template that's available from your newsletter dropdown in your post, that's where you're going to be able to create things like that. And then later on, this is also where you can take a look and see these different settings for features like allowing parents to post to their children's classes or making comments viewable by all, things like that. These are going to be things that you're going to want to browse at a point in time to ensure these settings match what you want your school or district to have access to. Now, if you have any questions about the things that I've gone over today or encountering, features that we didn't get to, or even when you're looking at these add-ons, you might have some questions. So what we have is this help and support question mark up here, and you can click on help pages. It's going to take you right here. So you can see we've got help sections broken up by user role. So if you've got any teachers or parents that have questions for you, you can direct them here. You might not know what they're asking because it's not what you're doing in your day-to-day in the platform. So they have that same help and support question mark that you do, and you can direct them here so they can search that question or they can navigate to their specific section to find those answers. We also have our ParentSquare features section where we can see a lot of the features that we went over today, like our calendar, our direct messages, posts. We can see a lot of things that we didn't get to, including how to do a lot of those basic functions on the ParentSquare app. So this is going to be a great resource for you. Each one of these sections has multiple help articles, step-by-step instructions, videos, images. We also have a classes and training section. So we've got training modules for these different user roles. We've got ones for teachers, admins. We've got a couple for you admins because you have so many features that you need to learn. We've got ones for your attendance clerks, and we have ones for your parents in English and Spanish. Each one of these is about 15 to 30 minutes depending on pace, and has detailed video instructions, hands-on practice challenges, quizzes, and a certificate that you can require if you'd like from your teachers, for example. We also have our webinars over the summer. We have live webinars every single week, and then at least monthly throughout the rest of the year. So if there's any point in time when you want a quick refresher, like the training you just sat through, you're able to register for those at any time right here. If none of these times work for you, we also have our pre-recorded training. So we've got our pre-recorded site admin webinar. It's going to be very similar, potentially identical to what you just sat through, as well as our teacher training webinar, which is going to be similar but watered down because your teachers have less access than you all have. And last but not least, we have our administrators category where we've got articles on the rollover process. It's going to be helpful to you in the summer. We've got articles for our site admin and our district admin, articles for our syncing schools. So if you have some data heavy questions, this is going to be a great tool for you. And of course, last but not least, we have our launch section with steps to launch ParentSquare across your school or district. We have our resource documents for you where we have a full launch kit. We've got handouts for your teachers and parents, videos in English and Spanish on how to use common features or how to download the app, sample welcome posts to introduce ParentSquare to your school communities, a bunch of different resources compiled by us to try and make this a positive and smooth experience in rolling out to your schools. Now, if you still have questions after viewing these different help pages, you can shoot us an email. We've got email support hours from 4:30 a.m. to 9 p.m. throughout the work week, and then intermittently on weekends. You can also, if you have just a quick question, a one-off quick answer question, you can also live chat with us or give us a call. We have these support hours from 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. during the week. So a lot of support here for you and a great customer success team that really just wants to get you up and running and connected to your school communities. So I'm going to hop onto questions right now. That is everything that I have for you today. So if you have any questions, feel free to type those in there, and my colleague and I will get you those answers. But if not, I thank you everybody for joining me here today. I hope that you're excited to take this back to your school community. So thank you. Have a great rest of your day and a great weekend.